Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. For those that know me, been here for many, many years, that this business is older than you and me in this, man, I believe, 100 years ago. So that thing doesn't change. You have tenant, you have problem. So face it, whether or not you're selling the property that have the tenant in there, or previous owner don't want to leave, your closing escrow facing a terrible situation. You can either buy them out, nowadays they cost a cash for key, prior to sell, prior to move in. Otherwise, you have to go the legal channel. The only way that you go through this called eviction. I mean, this term here has been in the book for many, many years. Not until the shows come out that eviction became a, people understood as kicking somebody out from the house, which is a Big Brother thing, was very big things in the television light show. Now the legal term we call unlawful detainer. Unlawful detainer is in the book for many years. Again, the only way you get the tenant out in Southern California is the legal procedure. They have a procedure to follow in the rule of law. Many people did not understand the challenge. Now, given the environment of this claimant, it doesn't help us as a seller, as an owner of the property, as a management company. So we expedite in this area to make sure every one of us in the profession know how to deal with it. I usually come to a speech without a script. But ultimately, it falls into 3 categories. You have to give a notice before you file a lawsuit. Notice is very important. Written notice, not verbal, not texting, or whatever format is not acceptable in court of law. Second, have to do it right. Which is the right way to do it? That's today's topic. I guess many of you don't care how the law works. You want to get a result, which is what I'm here for. For last month, we filed about 75 cases and resolve all eviction that it took 3 months to resolve the case. So each month, we have a report that come out how many cases we did not evict tenants. That's maybe you guys want to know. The percentage is related between 3 to 5. If you have 100 cases per month, you have 3 cases that resolve. If you lose the case in court, you're not going to get them out. So very important that we in the profession know how. It doesn't mean you rely on your client. You don't shouting at them, you don't go there and knock on the door. You're not going there and harass them. The other side will call harassment and call the police. In our side, we got a legitimate discussion. You can start with a conversation. You can start with a good faith attention. Why not you pay rent? Why not you move out? It's an old story. There's nothing new about it. They know why, you know why. But you gotta get the conversation going. So let's say get into the task that we need to do. In order to, the case that comes to my desk, I either reject the case, not because I don't want to make money, because something wrong in the process, or before the process began, before you pay me to do the job. So every day basis, I have people, client call me, come to see me, can Frank get rid of the tenant? I say no, you didn't do it the right way, because of rent control, Now let's say get a rent control for instance. For example, today's topic is not rent control. It's too complicated, won't even fit in a half-hour discussion. But just briefly, rent control, we call it life state. But any of you guys understood the life state mean they move in on that day, they stay forever until they die. Unless they don't pay rent, you have a chance to take them to the court. Otherwise, they stay there forever. I have one member come to see me yesterday, ask the same question. You say you have an offer in the area. So we look at the map, it's under rent control. I say, you bought this property, you expect them to stay there until that you die, or they die first. Either way. Maybe they're simply gonna stay there, and you have to deal with it. Now the bad part about the rent control is you only raise rent 3% each year. For instance, if you have $1,000, you only raise what, $30? How many years gonna bring the rental value to the market? It's hard to say. Nothing you can do about it, nothing. No much money you give me, it doesn't help you. Relocation is costly, 20 grand. Now people say, Frank, I read the pamphlet, it's about $1,200. I say, okay, between $1,200 to $20,000, you figure. Will you be willing to give $1,200 as minimum to get them out, to move them out, to relocate the legal terms? And then you're only able to do one. All right, let's say close the subject of a rent control. It's too complicated, it can take too long. Now we're going directly to the pamphlet that I prepared. The first two pages of my introduction and so, but the third page start with a notice. Since we live in St. Gabriel Valley, ignore the rent control for this regard. Rent control do not terminate the tenancy. Either way, and rent control is a relocation. You have to pay them to move. So the notice determination of tenancy work in St. Gabriel Valley, many places in Los Angeles. Now, what's the distinction between non-rent control and rent control? If you get a map, you get a Thomas guide, you open it up on that address. If the white area is rent control, big area, very big area from here, Fremont down, all the way to Van Nuys or St. Pierre. It's far away. Big land. Built before 78, more than one rental unit. It's rent control. Now, if not rent control, you own the property, you want them down, either you selling the property, you selling the property for somebody else, you gotta start with termination of tenancy. This form here, I got two of them, look identical, but if you look at carefully, one of them say 30 days and one of them 60 days. The law haven't changed for many, many years. I mean, when I was first into this profession 20 years ago, 30 days is norm. I decide I have equal chance. Your tenant want to move out, you give me 30-day notice in month-to-month setting. You tell me you want to move out next month, that's fine. And I want to get my property back, I'll give you a 30-day notice. Since then, law has been changed every 4 years. Every time new government sit on the bench or sit on the desk, they change the law. This law has a sunset clause, but not until our famous Governor Schwarzenegger, before he leave term, he reversed the law. Say, any future governor who sit on the bench, unless sign it and reverse the law stay there forever. 60-day notice for landlord and 30-day notice for tenant. So they create an unequal situation for you guys. You want them tenant to move out, you have to give them 60 days. They want to move out, they give you 30-day notice. Now tell me about it. How many tenants want to move out really give you a 30-day? They pack and leave, right? What are you going to do about it? Chase them? can chase all you want. You're gonna move across the street, move across town, move across the country, and they live with the money that they owe you, and they leave the mess that you have to clean up. That's the best scenario you have if they live by themselves. You, hooray, hooray, no eviction, no time loss. 30 days is not realistic. You evict a 30-day tenant, most likely is you rent a room in the corner of your house, inside your house. Maybe you verbally bring them in, your daughter or son's friend, to live there for about 3 months, 6 months, and then you say, no, it's too complicated. I want you to move 30 days notice, have to give it to her or him. Other than that, if they live there over 12 months, you have to give 60 days. Now people forget about days. If a 60 days doesn't sound too bad, but 2 months, 60 days, that's only notice. Today is the 3rd. If you give them 60 days today, September and November, October and November, that's the end of the year now. When they not move out, you're gonna knock on the door, you're yelling and you're kicking the door, you're not gonna go anywhere. You come to see me. In the back there, it's another 3 months. Law changed since then, not getting better, getting complicated, but there's a reason for it. Doesn't mean that the law favors tenant or favors landlord. There's 2 different ways to look at the situation. I explained to a lot of my clients that, fist fight doesn't solve the problem. Police was called, both sides have to go the other direction. Legal proceeding is the only way to do it. So if you look at scenario, 60 days plus 3 months, you're talking about 5 months for eviction. All right, why 3 months? Why not 3 weeks? Well, unlawful detainer procedure is in the book. There's a lawsuit. It's a life lawsuit that you have to deal with. As a lawyer in our firm, we specialize in this area. That's why we expedite. We move forward fast as the law allows. Now, beside the law, we have a human who handling paperwork, sit behind the desk, judge, you have the clerk, you have the sheriff department involved. 3 parts of the procedure that handled by other than my office. If you bring the case to me before 10 o'clock today, guarantee will be filed today. Not guaranteed will be served today. But make an attempt to serve a summons and complaint. That's a lawsuit. That's a guarantee. When we go there, file the case, we knock on the door, nobody there, we go back again. That's how the time ticking. Tick, 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 tick. 90 days or 3 months or 4 months from now. The law says, the complaint says the defendant had 5 days to respond, blah, blah, blah. We serve them the complaint, they didn't respond. What are you gonna do? Most lawyers say, oh yeah, default and a judgment and possession and sheriff, let's pause at a second. The paperwork behind it. 5 days becomes 7 days. The day you serve and the day you're acting on it is another day. It's a 7 day in between. You're hitting Sunday, you 8 days after that. If you, last day, let's say next Monday is a holiday, no count. So you have to skip another day. Now, by the end of this, the ordeal is 10 days. Now, because we're doing expertise, we try to close the loopholes from the eviction proceeding that caused the rear end that they call the third-party claim. If you sue somebody, husband and wife, in the lawsuit, they say, well, my daughter was 18 living here too. Now you just got to start all over. Basically, yes, they have right to contest. We go to trial again. And somebody did it before, come to me 4 months later. I say, well, that's what you did, and you give them a chance coming back. So we take him this court the second time. That's another 3 months in the back. Anyway, Long story short, you gotta do it perfectly. Don't leave no trace for them to come back and hurt you. And all they want is just trying to stay there free, that's all. Longest as they can. Now get back to the notice. That's something that you guys can do, but can help you out. Now, when this termination of tenancy, before they don't have this bottom part of it, termination, the law was enacted about 3 or 4 years ago, and we have to add this paragraph. And even so, they say, well, we'll give you 60 days if you're moving out. After that, before the 15 days before, pick up your belongings. After you move out, you still have the right to come back and pick up your belongings. That's the law says. How bad how much of the law will go protects the tenants. If you move out today and you left this stuff in there, you still have 15 days to pick it up, according to the law. When the sheriff comes and knocks on the door to tell you to leave on that day, from tomorrow, you have 15 days from tomorrow to pick up your left behind belonging. Now, everybody who dealing with a tenant before understand what that belonging or left behind belonging means. It could be something small. My baby's pictures, the kids' homework that last year's books, scrapbooks, furnitures, clothing, toys. It's funny. A lot of people say, can I throw away? I say, sure, throw away. If they claim that it was $1 million, then you suffer. You gotta pay back. Somebody's a trash, the other is trasher. That's what we've been saying forever. What do you evaluate your baby's picture that in the shoebox that the land will throw away in the trash can? I don't think the judge is gonna be very sympathetic if you don't do it right. Don't keep too much space. So I advise the landlord, something small, put it in a little box, stay in your closet forever. Not gonna hurt you.
What about the pets?
Pets, according to the pet insurer, if it didn't neglect for 24 hours, when you call the pet insurer and say, hey, I have a tenant who left the pet behind, the first thing they do, rude. They say, well, we can't do anything about it. You gotta give them 24 hours or 48 hours if they didn't collect. Now some tenant come back and feed their dog after they evicted. Okay? They're gonna feed them for the next 15 days. Well, if they've been locked inside the room, then you know how those poop was built up in the house. Very terrible. Nothing you can do about it. You want to take home? Yeah, you take home. That's not your doctor. Pet control will help you in some form. All right, go back to the notice. That the most main thing that the first and second notice is termination. 30 days, 60 days kind of deal that we talked about. And the third one, you're dealing with a tenant that pay rent. Now most of you guys don't have that kind of situation. You sell a house, you have a tenant over there, or you buy, for your clients buy it for yourself. Somebody in there that refused to move. Now you want to move the case, paperwork, so you can close the escrow, everybody get paid, everybody happy. The only one problem is somebody stay there that you cannot inspect the property. It's a possibility. If they incorporate it, you can do it. If they don't, you're stuck. 45-day escrow became how long? 5 more months? 60-day notice? As a seller, you gotta be aware. Tell your client, I can't sell your property into escrow without this guy leaving. I need an empty room, empty place. So the buyer have a chance to inspect the place. Unless you want to sell as it. As it, in terms of as it, I guess, just like used car, it's no guarantee. You bought a house with a guest house that needs to torn down, foundation that was collapsed, that's your problem. The buyer take all the risk. Most buyers do not like that. Sometimes the price so good that they can't refuse. Take as is, and they have to change the foundation, whatever. That's a lot of more investment need to be done. So now, as a seller, if you have your client have a tenant there, well, first thing you want to know is, did you have a lease with this guy? Did they pay rent timely? Now you got to find a way to get them out. Now tenants smart. As soon as you want to sell the house, they're going to sit down and start talking about money, talking about how long you let me stay, that kind of stuff. Well, the law says that you have to pay rent. What does it mean you let you stay? Well, I have the right too. Internet nowadays, you just Google it. Tenants' right is hundreds of pages of document teaching them how to do it. Even the video and everything else included. So they was thinking, well, you gotta give me 60 days to find a place. I say, well, I agree, but according to the law, you sign the lease, you still have to pay me rent until the 60-day end. Well, what do you think they're gonna pay? None. So you give them 60 days.
No.
When you give them 60 days, they're not gonna pay you this month. So the landlord gonna say, well, you know what? They don't pay me. I'm gonna lose 5 months rent for that ordeal before I sell the property? Well, that's part of the deal. Investment has come with risk. American way. Uncle Sam doesn't care which way you make money. Pay the tax. You make a lot of money, that's great. You lose a lot of money, that's your choice. You bring them in, you have to legally get them out. Now, a lot of people don't understand between when the tenant move in and when the tenant move out. The word about taking possession and leaving possession, it's just a terminology. Humans have to interact. How you interact when you rent a property? You give them a key. No other way around, right? They can't come in. It's an empty room. You get something already. You have to give them a key. You give them a key, they move in. With or without rent, that's your choice, or your risk. When you sign the lease, you didn't get your deposit, you didn't get your first month's rent, and you give them the key, say, you can move in now. Well, tomorrow they don't pay rent, you're gonna start with, the tenant I'm moving never pay rent. It happened a lot, and I don't know why. Keep advise our clients, do not do this stupid thing. Why you give them the house that was $500,000 without taking some money first? Oh, they give me a check, they promised me they need to go in now. I said, do you care? Oh yeah, I want to go vacation next week. So I have to. All right, that's your problem. You give them, now you come to see me, it's too late. They're already there. Now he's talking about 3 months, 6 month process to get them out. Brand new house, brand new clean house.
Hi, Frank. If they want to be nasty with you, at what point of the stage of the time can you report them to credit agencies?
Credit agency is a big deal nowadays.
Yeah, it's
Consumers' right includes you, me, and everybody else.
Yeah.
You can't report anybody until you get a court judgment. Now, it's only, I have been telling clients, only 3 ways that you can report it. Agency, right? Uncle Sam do not need the court order. They report the credit agency. You owe tax, it's under your report. Visa, MasterCard, that kind of big bank. You haven't seen you, they give you a card to swap. You use the money, it's in the report. That's about it. Anybody else, I owe you money, you owe me money, take me to court and judge decided I owe you money. Then you put in the credit agency. Understood? You don't have the other way. A lot of collection agency pitching the consumer say, don't worry about it, I'll put it on the credit agency. Bogus, yes.
You're going to court, still you cannot show up, which you are addicted to the court system. They still the case.
Repeat your question.
the judge, they will seal the case, which you cannot, they will not show up on the credit report, which they haven't been a victim from.
Well, here's the problem. The court doesn't care what you do. They owe you $1 million, you collecting, that's another step. You hire a lawyer to do the job, we did a job, but we're not guaranteed you're gonna get your money in the step the next day. The end of the story, you get a judgment, right? So the one that I put on over there that you can see. Oh, this guy owe you $5,000. Say, Frank, what are you gonna do about it? They owe you $5,000, that's court order. Go ahead and collect it. Now, you're telling me that, whoa, why is court not doing anything? Keep in mind, court is not doing anything at all. Collection agency that you hire will do something. Even credit card company, they give you a credit card to swap. If you don't pay, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna come into your house and knock on the door? Are you gonna bring a couple guys to overcome you? Say you don't pay, I'm gonna beat you up? Doesn't matter. You can owe as many money as you can in this country, and you don't be. They can't do anything about it. It happened before, it will happen again. Let's go up the third notice that we discussed. 3-day pay a break. Now you kind of say, yeah, I have a contract with this guy. You tell them to leave, they don't pay you rent. Give them 3 days. That's what I call a technique. You don't want to pay, and I'll get you out quickly so I can sell the house. That's your goal. It's not the landlord's goal. The landlord doesn't like that. I want to get paid until they move, until the day they sell. That's not realistic. In you, as agent, seller agent, you have to coach your client. Say, look, you want to sell the price beyond the market price or market price. You need to have a house that's showable, right? If you have somebody sitting over there with 12 kids in there, you're not going to have a showable house. They live like a dump. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just no time to manage it. It's same as my son's room is a dump. Doesn't mean that my son's a bad person. It's just worse than my tenants. So think about your son as your tenant. What are you going to do about it? You're going to evict them? Yeah. Yes. I did many of them. I evict son, father, mother, mother-in-law, divorced couple, whatever. Happened before. So 3-day notice, pay rent and quick is person who not pay rent. Now at the end of this paperwork, you come to see me. Now how you serve them, prepare it, post it, one on the door. Now cell phone is convenient. Take a picture, then post it, and go to the post office, pay $1.40. Now it's 40 cents, not 30 cents anymore. Plus a stamp. It's called certificate of mailing. That's the you go proof to the judge. They don't want to hear from you. The judge will ask how you serve. Or I post in the mail. Then I say I never got it. We're going to prove the case. You have to prove the case. This is evidence.
What is the difference between these two?
Now, certified mail is not in the book. Certified mail means most likely is signed. Now, when you certify a letter to the tenant or somebody, they don't get it immediately. The postman go there, knock on the door, say, hey, do you sign this? I'll give you this. If you're not home, I didn't give you this letter. I just put a little thing on the door, say, come to post office and sign. So remember, your notice never signed, never delivered, right? Certified mail, no good. Certified mail costs you more, but the postal office want you to using certified mail. That's more money. Anybody got it?
Yeah.
I have time. I'm going to set aside here. And if you have any questions, come after work. We talk individually. Thank you for everybody.